This northern capital on the Baltic Sea is a wonderful place to visit. The old city is an ideal spot for a visitor to explore in a short time. One is immediately transported back into the history of Tallinn, when surrounded by the old defensive walls and towers, which have stood firmly since the 13th century and have recently been carefully and sympathetically restored. The Estonians are proud of their past and take great pleasure in guiding the tourist around the sites. The young guides speak excellent English and are happy to show off their local heritage. Standing on the hill Tumpaya is the long Herman Tower at the corner of the original fortress. The site is now occupied by the Parliament building, with its pink facade and displaying the Estonian emblem of the three lions. Opposite stands the Alexander Nevsky Russian Orthodox Church. Estonia's eastern border is with Russia, and over the centuries, great influence has been imposed on the Estonians by their powerful neighbours. Only recently, in 1991, they celebrated their independence from Russia, but many Russians still remain resident in Estonia. Passing the colourful General Post Office on one's tour, one reaches the top of the hill where stands the prominent Church of the Dome, completed in 1240. Nearby is the House of the Nobles, now used as the Estonian Art Gallery and Museum. In this area also are situated some of the national embassies and delegations. Continuing through the narrow alleyways, the tour reaches an outlook point overlooking the Baltic Sea and the brightly coloured roofs, dominated by the spire of St. Olaf's Church. When built in 1267, it claimed to be the highest spire in medieval Europe.
Here and a very nice weather vane, and we continue this way.
The attractive display of the skilled work of local artists is mounted on the wall of the oldest street in Tallinn. This leads through the Pikk Gate Tower, eventually reaching the ornate clock on the wall of the Church of the Holy Ghost.
In Tallinn, they belonged into guilds. There were several guilds in Tallinn. Some were only meant for Estonians, some were meant for bachelor merchants, and this guild, Great Guild, was meant for a bit more well-off merchants.
Catherine's Passage, with its interesting supporting beams, leads to the street where beautiful knitted woolens are offered for sale in the stalls put up at the foot of one of the old original walls of the city. The walking tour continues through Old Tallinn, allowing the tourist time to appreciate the legacy of impressive architecture. Many of the buildings were erected in the 16th and 17th centuries, at the height of the city's prosperity, and a tremendous amount of work has been and is being done to restore them to their former splendor. A 1910 restoration in the Art Nouveau style echoes the design of its adjacent neighbor. A feeling of being welcomed is everywhere, and as the visitor makes his way to the main square, he realizes that this precinct is a hub of activity.
All right, go! Ladies and gentlemen, please come to watch the tournament of Middle Nights today at 2 o'clock. Vilnius Hall, near the tall Hermann Tower.
A special craft festival is taking place, with many traders showing a wide selection of craft work, with tempting items for locals and visitors to admire and even to purchase. This skilled woodcarver waits for business, sitting in his uniquely designed chair, carved from a single piece of timber. He has on display a number of his own distinctive wood sculptures. He is always ready to discuss and even design a similar chair to be created specifically for a prospective buyer. While strolling through the exciting exhibits, it is surely the perfect opportunity to have time to select something special as a souvenir of one's visit. There's so much from which to choose. Surrounding this, in an almost continental atmosphere, are many cafes for the foot-weary to relax and be refreshed, and have a chance once more to admire the splendidly restored buildings dominating this area.
Even in England last week, Hume was in, I felt that it was 30 degrees.
I know, that was down, and no wind, moving on the wind.
You get wind.
All countries have ceremonies and traditions, and it is a privilege to observe these newlyweds on their very special day, receiving the good wishes from the onlookers before carrying out one of these charming traditions publicly in the heart of the city. May their hopes for future happiness soar as high as their colourful balloons do today. The main square is a mecca for all tourists to Tallinn and is an important port of call for travellers on Baltic cruise ships. The visitors follow their guides very carefully, as they provide different language groups to accommodate tourists from many nations. Not only tourists wander around this square, for locals too it is a favourite meeting place, and it is intriguing to watch the residents daintily and elegantly picking their way across the uneven cobblestones.
And this child's straight cut farms it at some kids, and you get raw red with
She stuck 2 fingers instead, but
was it or the
One side of this central area is dominated by the splendid town hall building, still in the process of reconstruction. Figures from previous generations are displayed in many of the rooms to remind one of the past. The interior refurbishment is now complete, and one is free to wander through the present-day meeting rooms at leisure. These woven panels form a decorative feature along one side of the Citizens' Hall. The magnificent candelabra light up the council chamber itself, and an elaborate wood carving of Tristan and Isolde decorates the end of the alderman's bench. This is the original statue of Old Thomas, which was the weather vane on the top of the town hall. It was erected in 1530 and survived there until an air raid blew it off in 1944. An identical statue is now on top of the spire. Throughout the rooms, as one strolls, one is impressed by the use of natural wood and exquisite black leather. Suddenly, the sight of the ultra-modern coat racks jerks one back to the present day, and the realization that outdoors there is now a torrential rainstorm. These heavy showers come quickly, and the cafes are immediately deserted, but the locals, obviously used to such weather conditions, are well prepared. They still continue to go about their business, while others seek shelter until the storm blows over. As the skies clear, the scavengers take advantage of the empty tables before the customers return. The sun shines again, and the cafes become popular and busy once more. The adults enjoy their drinks and conversation, while the children play. At the end of this fascinating tour, the square rapidly returns to its ever-constant bustle of activity, while the impressively dominant town hall stands guard, and old Thomas, high up in the sky above, keeps a watchful eye over the beautiful city of Tallinn.